Good evening, race fans, and welcome here to Darlington for tonight's Ridge NAPA Auto Parts 150. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me, as always, is Chris Wright. Chris, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm ready for a great night of racing here tonight. We have 110 laps around this Darlington Raceway, and that is always a fun track to battle with. And as you can see on the screen, 110 laps, no stages, 4 sets of tires. The key to success is kind of cut off there, but it does say keep it off the wall and save your tires. Chris, that was a point that you made earlier on in our pre-race discussions. And what should we expect here tonight at Darlington?
I think based on some drivers I've talked to and whatnot, I think we're going to see these cars take off pretty free, and then they're going to get pretty tight in the middle, and that's where we talk about, with the short run, you want to not burn up the rears, kind of save the right front there. In the long run, not push, and you're probably going to stay kind of loose off all night unless you really, really bake the right front tire.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Let's take a look at our starting grid here tonight. Tyler Fode on the pole with Garrison Hogan on the outside of row number 1. Ethan Burrell and Joe Francis there, 2 non-playoff drivers in row number 2. Ethan Stanley, Matthew Weeks, row number 3. Both of those drivers still alive mathematically in that playoff hunt. Tonight is the final race of the second round. Next round is the final, so if you want to make it to that championship race, you better have a good night tonight. Trey Holmes, Jay Kaner there, row number 4. David Tooker and Jeff Green in row 5. The yellow on David Tooker's number indicates he is currently in a playoff spot and advancing to the next round, but not mathematically locked in. Josh Robin there in 11th alongside Jess Story in row number 6. John Cutlip, Seth Rawls, row number 7, with Tate Lytle making his return alongside Gerald Campbell in row number 8. Chris, why don't you take us through the rest of the field here?
Yeah, we've got Chad Frankenfield back there in 18th. I believe that's where you left off, right? Hunter Smith, Chad Frankenfield,
That's
17th,
right,
18th.
yep.
We got Brandon Ultra, Dave Carpenter, Jesse Razimus, Michael Goodman, Josh Adams, Dustin Dewar, Jacob Adams, Scott Krupp coming from the back tonight, Justin Vandermeer, and Mark Rebilas. And I do have a question for you here. We just have one driver locked in, right? Fode's locked in. Everybody else is trying to get in tonight.
That's absolutely correct. Tyler Fode is locked in to the next round as of now. Everyone else working their way in. Josh Robin does have to win tonight to make his way to the final round. Green flag in the air. We are underway here in the Ridge NAPA Auto Parts 150 at Darlington. Tyler Fode, Garrison Hogan leading the way here, with Fode getting out to an early lead ahead of Garrison Hogan, and the battle's on for third between Ethan Burrell and Joe Francis. The barbecue chip man there in 4th, now under fire from Ethan Stanley, as Stanley looks to the bottom of that Joe Francis machine side by side for 4th in turns number 3 and 4. Looks like we have a battle heating up for the race lead as well, as Garrison Hogan looking to the inside of Tyler Fode.
Yeah, and one thing I'm watching here on the start is Darlington is notorious for having a big wreck early. So hopefully we can avoid that tonight and get strung out. Which it looks like right now, most of the field is getting single file.
Oh, Ethan Stanley around into the inside wall.
That's going to hurt his playoff shot right there.
Ethan Stanley was one of the, nearly comes up into Gerald Campbell. That could have been catastrophic. Ethan Stanley was on the outside looking in. As you can see, he gets up ahead of Jesse Racimus in that 70 machine. And now what the issue is for Stanley is those tires are upset on that number 92 machine. So he has to let them cool a little bit.
Good hit.
Contact there, Gerald Campbell, Chad Frankenfield. And yeah, that was some pretty substantial contact there for Ethan Stanley. Chad Frankenfield loose. Wow, we are having a lot of issues early on. Ethan Stanley just went again down to the inside lane. Brandon Ultra into the outside wall. Ethan Stanley to the inside of Brandon Ultra. Nearly contact there. Ethan Stanley just wants to breathe for a moment. They are not giving him that opportunity whatsoever.
Yeah, and it's single filing out, but we are seeing these guys be loose like I talked about. I think they're going to stay pretty free on corner exit, but it's going to really snug up in the middle. We got one in the wall back there. I believe the 5 got a piece of that back there as well.
The 5 machine of Justin Vandermarl did get a piece of that outside wall. You're going to see that quite a bit here tonight at Darlington, known for the Darlington Stripes. I do want to point one thing out here. Josh Robin, that number 8 machine, he's way back from his qualifying position. Looks like
he got an EOL.
He had an incorrect banner on that number 8 machine, which is why he has started at the rear. Not running the playoff banner, even though we're at the end of round number 2. So Josh Robin kind of shooting himself in the foot there as Garrison Hogan just took a look to the inside of the Tyler Fody machine, gets back in line there. But Robin, the lone driver that actually has to win in order to advance to the championship round here, and he's got a lot of work ahead of him here, currently running in the 25th position on lap number 6. Obviously a long way to go, Chris, but it's not very easy to gain that many spots here at Darlington.
It's not, but one thing that's different here that it is in real life, you can pass here, especially when guys start wearing out the tires. If you take care of your tires, you can pass, and he wasn't alone. You know, we talk about him not having a banner at this point in the season, at this point in the playoffs, but Mark Rebilas, or Rebilas, however you say his name, is the serious sponsor, and he still does not have the correct banner. I guess he's been too busy going out to these events and taking some pictures and chasing some tornadoes. He's very busy through the week when he's not racing.
Just an update for those of you keeping score at home. We did just gain a 33rd car on the racetrack. Is Harrison Talon now leaving pit road? He is going to start this race.
Oh, we got a wreck here on the front stretch.
Down.
Not
Kyle
sure.
and Jones, Justin Vandermarl,
Jones.
both involved in this one. Looks like Vandermarl has already left the track. Kynan Jones getting his car spun back around. Caution finally out here. And that Kynan Jones machine does not look very healthy, with quite a bit of damage. And the sad part about this, Chris, is if you look at the rear of that Kynan Jones car, that's Justin Vandermarl's name on the back of that thing. So let's take a look here on Mark Rebilas' replay machine, rebilasphoto.com, for all your photography needs. Kynan Jones looks like he already had some rear end contact there. As you can see, the back of that machine already heavily damaged. Justin Vandermarl gets a great run off the corner. Looks like he just mistimes the move to the inside. Both of those drivers with a rather heavy impact with the inside wall. Justin Vandermarl's car didn't look too bad, but Kynan Jones took a big hit. And Vandermarl looks like he hit that F4 button, get off of the racetrack, and he has left the race.
And I think that started a few laps ago. I think those two cars were the two cars I saw make contact when I talked about the 5 being involved off of 2.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And I just got a message from Justin Vandermarl, and he says, track sucks. So he is not a fan of Darlington, and he will move on to the next race. And just taking a look, it looks like we have a few takers on pit road. Ethan Stanley, Jess Story, Hunter Smith, Chad Frankenfield, Mark Rebilas, Michael Hossack, and of course Kynan Jones after that earlier incident. Of course, Ethan Stanley did come down. I'm assuming he came down for some tires and a bit of damage repair after hitting that inside wall rather heavily. And just an update, does look like Harrison Talon will get one of his laps back, and now finds himself only 6 laps down, 10 laps into today's race. Just an update on the top 10. We do have a couple movers with those pit stops. Tyler Fody, Garrison Hogan, Ethan Burrell, Joe Francis, Matthew Weeks, the top 5. David Tooker in 6th. Jay Kaner in 7th. John Cutlip up to 8th. Last night's winner at Talladega to punch his ticket to the championship round. Tate Lytle making his return, currently running in that 9th position, just ahead of Trey Holmes, who finds himself in 10th. Also looking a little bit deeper in the field, a couple guys we're going to have to keep an eye on throughout the night. Scott Crump, he did not have a good qualifying effort here, Chris.
Oh my goodness. We almost had a wreck coming to pit road. Now I will say this, the 29 and the 15 were the first 2 cars that pitted, and they both have pit road penalties. So the 54 is going to be the first guy that rolls off the pit road here. But if we go back here and we take a look I believe it's the 24.
This is entering pit road?
Entering pit road, the 24 decided way late
So let's go
that he was
back a
going to pit.
little bit further to Michael Hossack's pit entry here. On the Rebilas Photography replay machine, we're going to have to go a little bit further back than... Oh my gosh.
And this is under caution. This is not even under green.
Hossack down to pit road, nearly nails the barrels. Wow. That's a very late decision there by Michael Hossack. As you can see, tally issued to the 5 machine of Justin Vandermeer. Thank you, race controller Nick Massey, for that update. As the lights are off in the pace car, the field pretty slow getting double filed up here.
Yeah, no hurry, I guess. I believe the first car off of pit road, too, is going to be that 54.
Yeah, it does look like the 54 of Hunter Smith, the first car off of pit road. Just ahead of Mark Rebilas, Ethan Stanley, Kynan Jones back out there. We'll see how that car does. Looks like the rear end's been fixed up a little bit. Ethan Stanley, his left side's looking pretty good now. Chad Frankenfield, like you mentioned, with a penalty. Josh Robin, Michael Hossack nearly ended up eating that wall. So very glad to see Hossack still continuing on. Here's the pace car is about to make the turn onto pit road here to set us free on lap 13 of 110 here tonight in the Ridge Napa Auto Parts 150 here at Darlington Speedway. Pace car down pit road. We're going to hand it down to Barney the Flag Man to get us going green here once again as the field comes around, heading for that Geico restart zone. Tyler Fode, the control car here. And we are back underway here. Chris, green flag in the air. Tyler Fode with a great jump. Looks like, I believe that's Trey Holmes. Just got a piece of the outside wall. Seth Ross as well. As,
and one thing that's different here now, these guys are on old tires, so they all got to understand that the grip's not going to be here. And these guys that got the pit penalty, oh, we got some contact back here in mid-pack. I think everything's okay. One thing that's okay about this pit penalty here is when you get a pit penalty with only 4 or 5 cars pitting, that penalty is not too bad. It's not like if everybody had pitted.
That's exactly it. You look, Chad got a pit penalty, and it looks like he only lost about 2 spots. So not too bad there for that 15 or the 54 of Hunter Smith. As, we see a couple cars getting loose there. Tate Lytle goes for a bit of a slide, able to catch it and get back up in front of Jeff Green and Jay Kaner. Green up to the rear of the Lytle machine. Kaner up to the rear of the Jeff Green machine. Of course, Jeff Green, lots of experience around this racetrack, Chris.
Yeah, lots of experience around a lot of these tracks, but I am not sure how much transfers over to the sim there. You know, Jeff's a guy that has some speed some weeks, and some weeks, you know, the speed's not quite there. The 45's in the wall, but Jeff's a guy that I would think, if anything transferred from the real world to here, Darlington was a place that he'd be pretty good at. So we'll have to see how good he is on the long run. I think we did a race last year. Was it maybe Milwaukee, where Jeff was really, really, really strong? So he might be looking for a chance to get back to Milwaukee at some point.
I believe it was Milwaukee, Chris. I believe you're correct with that. As we do see the field head off here through turns 1 and 2. What a sight it is just seeing these guys rip the outside wall like they're doing, and just watching that all throughout the field. Chad Frankenfield to the inside of Michael Goodman here. Makes that pass. Ethan Stanley looking to get by Brandon Ultra. Ultra up into the outside wall. Chad Frankenfield to the rear of the Ethan Stanley machine. Nearly got him aerodynamically loose there, which would have sent that 92 back down towards the inside wall, which Ethan Stanley's hoping not to do. Brandon Ultra in the wall. They're 3 wide now. Ultra falls back to the outside of Michael Goodman, looking for an opportunity to clear and have a bit of breathing room. But
I think Ultra's been in the wall about 4 times in the last lap and a half.
I think this is kind of Brandon Ultra's style of racing. He likes ripping the outside wall. I just think the outside wall is kind of ripping him at this point, Chris, is kind of what I'm seeing out on the racetrack. And Ultra really needs to get off of that outside wall, have an opportunity to actually race and not get stuck up in the wall, because these walls are not forgiving whatsoever here at Darlington.
Now, I got a question for you here as a driver. when you run here, when you get down to 3 and 4, what do you try to do? Because I'm a big believer in if I can run the bottom, and even if I give up a little bit on the short run, because, you know, guys running the wall are going to be faster on a short run. You're going to get that big run off of 4. But I believe that if you can run the bottom, this is just my theory, I don't have any factual evidence to back it up, you actually take care of your tires better than running up through there on the wall and using it up off of 4.
So for me, turn 1 and 2, I'm definitely gripping the high line. I think that's basically the only way to go around this racetrack. And then 3 and 4, yeah, I'm trying to drive that the seam that you see there where Seth Rawls was through 3 and 4. I don't really like the high line here in 3 and 4. It just seems to have kind of a vacuum effect pulling you up into the outside wall. And I have enough issues saving my tires and keeping my car clean, so I'm going to do whatever I can to stay away from the outside wall.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Like, you know, to run a fast lap, you kind of got to go down there and kind of put it towards the fence. But I feel like in a race pace kind of deal, you want to run away from that wall and take care of your stuff. I feel like that's better on the tires.
Scott Crump having an issue here with his connection. Looks like he's falling all the way through the field. Chris, I'm not sure if potentially we're about to lose Scott Crump from this race field. I definitely hope that's not the case, as Crump
came in above the cut line.
Crump is currently in one of those playoff spots. I do not see him tracking on the racetrack anymore, Chris. I'm not sure if you can follow up on that in the race server.
I don't have him either.
I think Scott Crump is just falling out.
Oh,
you know, he's tracking again, Chris. I'm showing him doing laps on the racetrack.
He did lose a lap, though. He did lose a lap. He was out for almost a full lap.
The worst part, what can happen on iRacing is if you blink out at the start-finish line, it will typically not score you. And that appears to be what's happened to Scott Crump, now finding himself a lap down, even though he was probably exactly where he's been running Garrison Hogan into the outside wall from second place. It's Garrison Hogan now getting passed by Ethan Burrell. Hogan, another one of those playoff drivers that really needed a strong run here tonight. Contact with the outside wall here can be catastrophic, but I'm not sure if that's the case with Garrison Hogan, as he's actually dropping to the bottom. I believe Garrison Hogan might be coming to pit road here with damage. The right side not looking too bad on the Hogan machine, but maybe a little frustrated with that one.
This is another guy that's in the, you know, we're eliminating some playoff guys right here.
We are absolutely ticking off playoff drivers one by one. We're going to follow Garrison Hogan down pit road here. I just want to see if he does come back out onto the racetrack. Obviously going to have his work cut out for him here. I'm seeing Scott Crump. Yes, Crump's still one lap down on the racetrack. Hogan's still coming to pit road. We'll come back to that Garrison Hogan machine shortly. Your top playoff drivers right now, of course, Tyler Fode out front. Matthew Weeks currently in fourth. He needs a strong run here tonight. Currently on the outside looking in. And a really strong run for that number 11 machine could do wonders in setting him forward to that final round. David Tooker running in fifth. Exactly
Garrison
what he needs to do. That's kind of what I assumed was about to happen there, Chris. Unfortunate for that number 1 machine. Didn't look like the damage was too heavy, but again, we are not behind the wheel of these race cars. That could have knocked the steering out or anything really that can hinder the performance of that number 1 car, and Garrison Hogan knows his vehicle better than anybody else. So unfortunately, Garrison Hogan's playoff hopes have come to an end here in the 2023A playoff season here. Tyler Pop looks
not
to be
ideal for those guys.
Jake.
But if I'm Josh Adams, a lot of these guys are right on me here. Josh came in second, and now the guys that were right behind him, third and fourth, you know, Scott is still in the race, but he lost a lap, and Garrison is done. So if I'm Josh, you're sitting here now, top 25 should get you advanced to fight for a championship. So kind of balance risk versus reward the rest of the race. If I'm Josh Adams, I'm going to make sure I don't do anything.
Seth Rawls hard contact with the outside wall. Yeah, absolutely, Chris. I think you kind of have to be smart about it, especially if you are currently in a playoff spot. You don't want to risk too much trying to gain really not much at all, because you're not going to have an advantage in that final round. Everyone's going to be even as we start the season finale in 2 weeks' time. So Oh, Jesse Racimus and Seth Rawls make contact. Racimus falling back now.
Yeah, side by side with Scott Crump there for 2.
Ooh,
But
Crump
really,
gets a
it's
little
only
loose.
Josh. Only Josh is the guy who I think can rest easy here and breathe easy and take care of his stuff. Everybody else is enjoying it.
That's
But
exactly
everybody
it.
else is so tight, you know, and Ethan Stanley's already struggling tonight.
Oh, Crump clears himself ahead of Jesse Racimus. Racimus not too pleased with that. Looks like he almost took a swipe at the Crump machine as they came off of turn number 4. That
Well,
was
Crump's
a
a
little
lapper
interesting.
now, so maybe that's why he's frustrated. He's like, hey, this lap car, but, you know, circumstances are the reason that 90 got trapped down there. But this is probably the worst Scott has ran in a while. I don't know what's going on with
looking
the
even
machine this week, but
even
they do
on the
not have
racetrack, Chris, Scott Crump didn't qualify too well at all. Qualified 26th on the racetrack, and as they run, he would technically just be in that 14th position now.
Oh, he's in the side of Seth Rawls. Jesse's involved.
Jesse Racimus and Seth Rawls after contact with Scott Crump. Crump just forcing his way through the field at this point as a lap car. That's not going to help when it comes to a lucky dog as Racimus gets into the outside wall once again. Jess Story going by. Now Rawls falls from 14th to 19th as the lap car of Scott Crump gets into him. I understand circumstances, Chris, but you still have to race these guys clean.
Yeah, Scott wasn't going to give. I don't know that he was far enough up there to be let go, especially being a lap car. But, I mean, he's going to have to race that 25 again because you're going to go to the back if you get what you need, which is a caution. You're going to have to go to the back and kind of, you took a liberty there that guy, you know, these guys don't forget how they get raced.
That's exactly it. And if you're a guy that doesn't always run towards the front, you have a lot less to lose than these guys that are in the playoffs and running towards the front every single week. So you never know. There might be a little bit of payback later on that's going to cost the Crump machine a little bit more than anybody else as Ethan Burrell looks to the inside of Tyler Fode for the race lead. I think Fode's working that high line relatively nicely and able to get those runs off the corner that's helping set him up.
Oh, no. We've got a blinker here. Josh Adams is really heavily blinking here. Oh, and we've got contact down here in front of him. The 9 gets turned.
Jay
He's
Kaner nearly
gonna save
turns
it.
Chad Frankenfield there
And
with
Josh
that
Adams
contact.
blinked his way by.
I think the Josh Adams machine looks to be clearing up out there on the racetrack. Gerald Campbell now trying to get ahead. Actually, sorry, Jake Adams getting ahead of Gerald Campbell. Here comes Jess Story. So the two Mountain Man Motorsports drivers go by Gerald Campbell here. This looks like Hunter Smith going for a big wide move around. Actually, Scott Crump getting by Hunter Smith here. So Crump continuing to work his way forward. Hunter Smith now in the outside wall. Looks like every car that Scott Crump gets around gets into the outside wall. That was, oh, Gerald Campbell. Jesus, Gerald. What are you doing, buddy? As Gerald gets back in line.
He's wheeling, man. That's what he's doing. He's driving.
That is a wild ride for that number 31 machine. Look at the right side of that thing as it comes by our camera. That thing looks torn up. He's gotten quite a few Darlington stripes here tonight.
Yeah, and with just 2 races left here in the season, these guys are vying for everything they can get out here. Everybody wants to finish as high as they can in the points, not just the championship 4, which is going to be the main story. That's what we got to make sure we talk about and hammer home is the playoffs. But if you're 10th in points, that's where you want to finish. If you're 12th, you want to get to 10th. You want to get to that next number and maximize the end of your season and be able to go into next season with some momentum, thinking, you know, hey, we ended the season really strong. We ended as a 10th place guy. Let's go and run top 6 or 8. Let's go and compete for wins. You want to improve. And that starts here, you know, at the end of the season when you know you're out of that title fight. You want to stick around and you want to figure some things out and improve yourself to be ready to go and be one of those, you know, you want to go and take it to Tyler Fode next season.
That's exactly it, Chris. You know, you come into these races just looking for an opportunity to grow each and every week, each and every season. I look at a guy like a Michael Hosek, and a couple seasons ago, he would basically be trying to battle to stay on the lead lap. Now he's consistently top 20, top 25 every single week, and he's shown a lot of growth throughout 2023, especially going back to the ARCA series, throughout trucks, Xfinity, even on the Cup side. And it's great to see the growth of these guys. Another guy I've been watching, Rory Collins, relatively new to Elite still, especially on the stock car side. For him, I mean, a race that you stay on the lead lap, you compete for a top 25, that's a good day. And then next season, you look towards top 20s. And then after that, top 15s, top 10s. And eventually you're up there competing for race victories and good finishes. As Jess Story finds himself on the inside lane there. Looks like he had a little bit of a moment. Let's go ahead and pull up the Rebilas Photography replay machine and see what happened here to Jess Stories. He lost a bunch of spots watching that number 29 machine of Story just ahead of Jacob Adams.
Looks solid there. He had just passed that. Oh, what's going on here? This has got to be... He had a malfunction there. Something happened with his iRacing screen, or something had to. Kudos to him for getting down and out of the way and continuing on.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, he nearly had a big malfunction out on the racetrack as he just about lost it out there. This is a bit of a gaggle of cars. Gerald Campbell coming down pit road here, lap number 40. So pretty close to the number you said, Chris. You said about 50 to 60 was the window we were looking at. So Gerald likely looking at a two-stop strategy here tonight. Pit on lap 40, and then likely again around lap 80, and then go for a 30-lap run to the finish line. So we're going to see different strategies come into play here tonight, especially with the playoff drivers. So Tyler Fode. Actually, Fode can do whatever he wishes. He's locked in. David Tooker, John Cutlip, Matthew Weeks, Josh Robin, Ethan Stanley, Josh Adams, Josh Robin, the various drivers in the playoffs will try different strategies to see what they can do to get closer to the front.
Yeah, and one thing, I just want to finish what we were talking about earlier.
For sure.
I think you talked about how these guys have improved. I'm going to tell you, man, that Pit Pass Network ARCA series, I think, is one of the better things that's happened to Elite in a long time. To be able to go out there and run that, and those guys be able to take that opportunity and run and get better and improve and figure some things out. And it really shows out here. That's kind of Ethan Stanley's coming out party, was winning a bunch of races over there. And look at him now. He's one of the hottest drivers in Elite. Everybody, was looking to get him on their team, and he's guys out that you compete with week in, week out. And you talk about Michael there. He's a guy that's gotten a lot better from over there. And there's some other guys. I had the opportunity to race over there. There's some guys who are going to get to come back and run that ARCA series for a second season. And there's some fast guys who just have to get a little more consistent and put some races together and figure out how to run these longer races. But there are some other hot shoes that are going to be coming out of that in the next year.
Absolutely, and it's really great to see the growth that we've had in Elite through the development series in ARCA, as well as trucks, and all the way up through all the other series. I do just want to give a quick real-world racing update here. A notification did just come out a few minutes ago from IndyCar, or Open Wheel Team, Cusick Motorsports, regarding driver Stefan Wilson, former competitor here in the Elite Racing League and a Grand Marshal for our Rebilas 500 last week. Unfortunately, due to an incident today with driver Catherine Legg, they had some contact out on the racetrack. Stefan suffered a fracture of the 12th thoracic vertebrae and will not be able to compete in the Indianapolis 500 this upcoming weekend.
Wow. So to put that kind of out there in layman's terms, he broke a bone in his back. He's got a broken back. So I wonder who they get to fill that car. There's a pretty hot shoe that missed the race there. Does Graham take that opportunity? Does that opportunity get allowed to happen? I'm not sure if they both drive for the same manufacturer, how that would all work out.
Honestly, I've just sent a message over to David Huckleberry. Somebody just lost it on the racetrack. Actually, it looks like Ethan Stanley coming off of pit road, so Stanley did pit there. Just saw a big public.
Gerald's got an issue here down into 1. Something just happened to Gerald.
I believe Gerald's actually just leaving pit road here, Chris. Yeah, that's Gerald Campbell leaving pit road. Seth Rawls just came down pit road. Actually, I do stand corrected. Gerald looks very slow out on the racetrack down
Yeah,
the back
he left pit road a
straightaway.
couple laps ago and was coming back through the field, trying to get back in the lucky dog spot. And now, not
Potentially
sure.
a black flag? Maybe speeding on pit
He's all
road.
clear. He's all clear on the flags.
Gerald has called it a night as he pulls into his pit box and does tow home. So Gerald Campbell out of tonight's race. Yeah, I'm not sure what happens when it comes
Ethan
to...
Stanley just pitted, and he got a black. He's serving a drive-through as we speak.
this.
Big championship implications there.
This is catastrophic for that Ethan Stanley machine. Not technically out of it, but does find himself nearly 3 laps down at this point, and in a race that we've had very little cautions. It's going to be very tough for Ethan Stanley to work his way back up into the title fight. Here comes Seth Rawls on fresh tires. He goes by the 3rd place Ethan Burrell, now coming up to the rear of 2nd place driver Tate Lytle. Lytle up 13 spots thus far, the 2nd biggest mover of the race. The biggest mover is a tie between Josh Adams and Tyler Pop, both of them up 14 positions respectively so far here tonight. Ethan Stanley on the other, Garrison Hogan on the other end of that spectrum, down 30 spots. He's been passed by Harrison Dallin, who did start 6 laps down and currently still runs 6 laps down.
I do think we're about 5 to 10 away from a bunch of pit stops breaking out. So
as you say that, Josh Adams comes down pit road. You're pretty spot on here, Chris. Adams is usually an indicator of when these drivers are going to start thinking of coming down pit road. He's pretty strong at saving tires and running very well while doing it. So I would imagine that these drivers are not too far behind that 56 machine. Tyler Fode gets up high to let the Seth Rawls machine squeak on by. Rawls gets himself back on the lead lap here. Actually, Seth's still a lap or 2 down. So Rawls went a few laps down pitting there. Now back 1 lap down. So he was 2 down, now 1 as he gets very loose ahead of Tyler Fode.
Josh Adams has been gone for about 15 seconds at this point.
We will keep an eye on that. That's another massive implication. I did get notified that he left pit road not too long ago, so he should be in the process of leaving his pit stall. I don't see him adding any additional time on the racetrack, so I think Josh Adams has disconnected from the server due to a connection issue, Chris.
Yeah, this is not ideal for Josh Adams.
Side-by-side battle for position number 2, Ethan Burrell and Tate Lytle. As Lytle gets up high, I do stand corrected. That's actually Ethan Stanley coming through. So Tate's still in 2nd place. Ethan Burrell back in 3rd. Joe Francis 4th. David Tooker 5th. Yeah, Josh Adams has not moved in the last while. I do believe he is out of the race currently due to a connection issue, which will most likely eliminate him from playoff contention.
I think Josh is going to be good. With Scott down there, with Ethan having his troubles, and Garrison being out, Josh is probably going to come back, because I just got word that it was an internet issue there. He had a Q-bar issue, and he plugged in he was wireless, didn't know he was wireless. He plugged in his Ethernet, and it just shot him out of the server. He should come back. He should still be in the top 30 when he gets back, with an opportunity to gain some more.
I do believe Josh will likely fall to about 29th position. He should get passed by Harrison Talon before returning to the field, but it does appear Kynan Jones has called it a night in the 30th position, so 29th should be the spot for Josh Adams. We'll see if he can gain anything on the racetrack. I'm sure we'll get some late race carnage as we have hit halfway here in the event already. These guys having a good pace thus far, but some unfortunate races so far for these playoff guys. Crump, Stanley, and Adams all with issues. Garrison Hogan as well. And to be fair, that, like you mentioned, that's probably what's going to help Josh Adams, is the fact that Crump, Stanley, Hogan, and the likes have all had issues throughout this event. As Michael Goodman comes down pit road. First time we get to talk about Goody here tonight. I always love that Goodman beard. What a nice beard he's got.
Yeah, I hear he, well, we won't go there, but I hear that beard is a lot of fun is had with that beard.
We're not going there at all as Matthew Weeks comes down pit road from the top 10. That's one of our playoff drivers.
Jay Kaner just missed pit road.
Jay has missed pit road. He's going to stay on the racetrack and come down this next time by. That's definitely unfortunate for that 9 machine. Missing pit road once really cost you a lot out on the racetrack, and now he's going to have to work his way back up through the field once he comes down pit road. We see a little bit of a smoke just ahead of Jay Kaner. We'll see if he comes down pit road this time. And he will stay out on the racetrack, so maybe he wasn't looking to pit there, Chris.
Maybe he just figured, I almost missed it, so we'll just run it out for a while.
We'll just wait for a caution or something.
And I gotta feel like that's what everybody's thinking here, waiting for a caution, because I thought we'd see a lot of guys pitting at about 55 there. And
yeah, we're now coming to lap 60 this time by.
And they can still run
halfway.
about 10 more. With that caution, they can run about 10 more. And those guys that pitted can probably run about 15 more. And I believe is Jay coming this time?
Jay Kaner, Dustin Dewar to pit road. Michael Hosick coming down as well. There's 3 cars. Hosick gets on pit road much cleaner than he did last time under the caution.
Yeah, Jay was very much cleaner as well there.
Well, Michael, if you remember, Chris, he nearly nailed the pit wall under caution earlier on, so anything is an upgrade over that. Mark Rebilas also coming down pit road again. Thank you to Mark Rebilas and RebilasPhoto.com for their support of the Grand National Series. Here comes Dave Carpenter down pit road again, running that Lemons of Love machine in honor of his nephew, Aaron Lineman, who we unfortunately lost earlier this season.
And I want to hammer away here. That's a great group of guys over there at Do Good. And Lemons of Love, it's a great charity. You know, I've got some family that's dealing with cancer now, and a couple people, you know, it's terrible to have just one and then you get a second one on top of that. But Lemons of Love sent a care package courtesy of those, you know, Do Good guys. Like, that's a great group of guys over there. And Josh Adams has now rejoined the racetrack 8 laps down. That'll probably come back to about 6 or so when everybody cycles through pit stops. He'll probably make up at least 1, maybe 2 laps.
He should definitely gain a few laps there. Jess Story also on pit road from the midfield around 15th there was Story at the time of his pit stop. It'll be interesting to see who of the leaders is the first to come down pit road. I'm going to say someone towards the rear of that top 10, maybe around Jeff Green, Trey Holmes, Hunter Smith area. Hunter already did come down, so those fresh tires. Actually, there we go. Tate Lytle comes down pit road from 2nd place. This should kickstart.
We haven't spoken of him tonight, but he is back running with us, and he has been running top 2 or 3 all race long. So
yeah, Tate had gained a bunch of spots, started in the middle of that teens area, and now has worked his way up to 2nd. Tyler Popp with not so great of a pit entry, but did make it down. The number 13 machine coming to the attention of his pit crew. He's run fairly well tonight as well. Here comes Tyler Fody, our race leader, to pit road. So we are definitely going with our pit stops. Now here comes Frad Shankenfield down pit road, the number 15 machine.
And I think Fody was strictly reacting to what Tate did there. He saw Tate pit, and he said, that's my closest
competition. I think
competition.
you have to. The gap was not big enough between those two to try to do something different. I think you kind of have to mirror that. Ethan Burrell coming down pit road as well. Joe Francis going to stay out and take over the race lead. I believe David Tooker going to stay out as well. Jay Kaner to the rear of the David Tooker machine. Oh, Jay Kaner.
We're going to go 3 wide here, too.
With David Tooker.
And that was Josh Adams that was up there.
Jeff Green, Trey Holmes also down pit road. You know what, Chris? We have not mentioned this yet tonight, and I do want to give a shout out to elite regular, a driver that's won in this series this season and has been a contender in every series he's taken part in. R.C. Anderson did qualify for his first Indianapolis 500 this weekend. Going to start in the 29th. He's starting 29th this upcoming Saturday in the Indianapolis 500. So very cool to see RC making that race. And can't wait to follow along and see how he does.
Yeah, I got a chance to send him a message and congratulate him. It's great. I've gotten to know him a little bit here because of Elite and obviously his dominance. And that was the guy that I talked to quite a bit when I went over and ran that open wheel series last season. So he was a great help there to find some pace, and hopefully they can find the pace they need and pass, I don't know, 28 cars on Sunday and be able to win the thing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting to see what they can do. And, just making the race is their goal achieved. They did what they wanted to do. First attempt ever at a race in that series for Able Motorsports. They put that car together. It was the chassis and tub that RC attempted to make the race with a couple years ago with Top Gun. Didn't make the race, but had a good effort there. And now, obviously, qualifying in, not even having to go to bump day, is a fantastic job by that team, Able Motorsports, as well as RC Anderson. He put the loud pedal down and was able to qualify in and did a fantastic job. We're all very proud of him here at the Elite Racing League and here at the Elite Racing Network, and we can't wait to cheer him on this weekend. But as pit stops continue here, David Tooker coming down pit road. Looks like Jonathan Cutlip will be the last car to stay out on lead lap. One of those drivers on the outside looking in, so looking for a bonus point here for a lap led. Don't blame John for trying to do that. But as the pit cycle does continue, we're going to take our pit stop here. When we come back, we'll be back with you here in the Ridge NAPA Auto Parts 150 at Darlington.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we are back here in the Ridge Napa Auto Parts 150. Again, Ridge Napa Auto Parts, our presenting sponsor here tonight for this race. As I mentioned, this race is brought to you by Ridge Napa Auto Parts. They are a family-owned business celebrating its 95th year in operation and have 16 stores in northern Indiana and southwest Michigan. And just before we returned, you heard from TA Services and iRacing.com, some of our premier partners here at the Elite Racing League as well. Blue Egg Marketing. Blue Egg is the marketing department for small businesses. And Worldwide Technology Raceway is a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, home to a 1.25-mile oval, 2-mile road course, quarter-mile drag strip, and a state-of-the-art karting facility known as the Kartplex. Check out Worldwide Technology Raceway today. And looking through the field, we do have Tyler Fode out front, Tate Lytle in second, as you see him go by Harrison Towle in the lap car, Matthew Weeks in third, Ethan Burrell fourth, Chad Frankenfield has recovered to that fifth position, David Tooker in sixth, Joe Francis, powered by barbecue chips, up in seventh, John Cutlip in eighth after a nice pit strategy, Trey Holmes in ninth, followed by Seth Rawls rounding out the top 10. Just outside the top 10, we see Dustin Dewar, Josh Robin, as well Jess Story, Michael Hosick, and Jacob Adams in that top 15. Mike Goodman, Dave Carpenter, Brandon Ultra, Jesse Racimus, Jeff Green rounding out the top 20, and rounding out the cars on the racetrack right now, Mark Rebilas, Scott Crump, Ethan Stanley, followed by Rory Collins, Jay Kaner, Hunter Smith, Harrison Talon, Joshua Adams, and that is it. We have 28 cars left on the racetrack as Tyler Fode in a little bit of a battle with some lap cars. Jake Kaner gets up into the outside wall as Jake Adams hooks onto the rear of that Fode machine, trying to hold on to the lucky dog position should we get another caution. I believe we only had one of those so far, Chris.
Yeah, we just had one there early in the race. And you're talking about Jake Adams there being the lucky dog. He's on a little bit newer tires than Fode, but he just can't seem to quite make the pass. But as long as he stays right there, shadows Fode, he'll stay in that lucky dog spot because he's good. Jake's gonna be better than everybody else because these were two of the last cars to pit here. So
that's exactly it. Just ahead of the Tyler Fode machine, you do see Joshua Adams about to go an additional lap down here after some connection issues. Unfortunately for Adams, he is 7 laps down at this point, about to be 8, as Tyler Fode looks to the inside of that 56 machine. Josh doesn't let him go so easy as Jess Story gets into the outside wall just ahead of Josh Adams and race leader Tyler Fode. 82 down, 28 to go here at the Darlington Raceway.
Yeah, and Jess Story. See, Jake is right there, and he's able to pass every car that Fode passes. And Jess Story hard in the wall off of 2. Oh, really severe contact there for Jess Story.
Yeah, Jess Story going to come to the attention of his pit crew after contact with the outside wall. I think I jinxed it a little bit. I had mentioned to you off air that Jess was having a really solid run so far, and anytime I do that, I seem to curse the driver. So I do apologize, Jess. Hopefully you can get that car fixed up, get back out here, and try to get yourself a good finish with what you can. As you mentioned, Jake Adams hooked onto the rear of the Tyler Fode machine, doing a nice job trying to hold on to the lucky dog position here as they do get really close. But next car to go lap down, the 11th place machine of Dustin Dewar. Jake Adams goes to the inside of Tyler Fode off of turn number 4. Jake Adams, I don't think he wants to hold on for that lucky dog, as he's going to go ahead and get ahead of Tyler Fode, put Jake Adams back on the lead lap.
Yeah, Jake's been trying to make that happen for a couple laps there. I think he feels like he's got a little bit more pace than Fode and little newer tires. So I think Fode will fight for a little while, but not anymore.
What this will do, Chris, is give Jake the opportunity, if a caution does come out, just to hook onto the rear of the lead lap, not have to worry about a wave around or any sort of lucky dog, and be able to stay on the same strategy as the race leaders and compete for a solid finish. Oh, as Dustin Dewar gets up into the outside wall just ahead of Jacob Adams and Tyler Fode there. That was a little sketchy.
Yeah, that probably scared Fode a little bit. Not that it didn't scare Jake, but
That scared me a little bit.
Cody's getting caught by Tate Lotto, but he does have the 1 lap fresher tires, so. But yeah, you're right. You know, Jake getting up there and making that pass, that's 11th place now. You know, so if you can restart in the first 5 rows here, you have a shot to, you know, he realistically, if a caution comes out, has a shot to run in the top 5. You know, it's nothing to be able to gain 5 or 6 spots. Jay Canor is in the wall again down into 1.
Yeah, Jay's had quite a bit of contact inside and outside wall. As you can see, the number 9 on his left side door pretty much scrubbed right off that machine.
If it does stay green, though, there's probably only 1 more spot that Jake will get. And there's only 1 more car that will likely get lapped because you've got Josh Robin, who's just... Oh, and Michael Hosick is in the wall hard down into 1.
As we take a look, Michael Hosick has recovered that race car, but we'll take a look. Tate Lytle just ahead of him here. That's the 2nd place car. Ethan Stanley has a little brush with the outside wall. Nothing too major there. Right side of Michael Hosick's car, a little dinged up, but not looking too bad. Chris, we did just pass the 25 to go mark, now 22. So in honor of our good buddy, Alexander Ned, why don't we go ahead and make race picks here? Who do you think's going to take the victory? And I mean, there's a low-hanging fruit here that you can kind of grab rather easily.
Well, let's set this up before I make a pick. Tyler Fode's the easy guy to pick, right? That's nearly a 3-second lead. 3.5 to Ethan. Chad is up there. You know, Tate started 15th. He's up to 2nd. Chad started 18th. He's up to 4th. We know Chad only has 1 set lay-in. Everybody else has 2. But at this point in the race, if you get you're only pitting 1 more time. If a caution comes out, you're not going to pit again. So Chad's probably happy that we haven't had a rash of yellows to force him into making a decision. Then you've got Jonathan Cutlip, 13th up to 8th. Jake Adams, you know, we talk about him getting his lap back, and you might think, oh, he's right on the edge of the lead lap, but he did start 25th. He's running 11th. I said all that to, you know what? I'm going to take Tate. That's who I'm going to take. I think we're going to get a caution before the end of this thing, and we're going to have a restart. And that said, Fode's probably the guy that's going to win this race. You know, we're sitting here looking at the same thing. Fode's the guy that you got to go get, even if there's a caution.
Oh, we nearly had one right there with Mark Rebilas.
So I will take Tate. You know, we've missed seeing Tate on the racetrack, so I'm going to say Tate gets it done here with the help of a late caution.
Looking at what we have for us here in timing and scoring, quickest car of the night has actually been Scott Crump. Crump, of course, is a lap down at this point, 2 laps down. So he will not be too much of a contender when it comes to the end of this race. I'm looking at someone else that's been relatively close to Tyler Fode's lap times, and if he's given the opportunity to re-rack and restack this field and get closer to our race leader, Tyler Fode, and he's on the outside looking in coming into tonight, I'm going to stick with the Pro Edge camp. I'm going to go with that number 11 machine of Matthew Weeks. He has been very quick tonight, just has not really been able to show it in the standings, as, of course, Tyler Fode has a 10-second lead over Matthew Weeks, who's the 5th place car, now 6th place, as he is battling with David Tooker.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this all shakes out, what's going to happen. You know, without the aid of a caution, we're probably going to have a race for 2nd. We got a great battle. You mentioned Matthew Weeks, but right now he's in a big battle with David Tooker.
Matthew Weeks, David Tooker. Yeah, unfortunately, we did lose that battle, but looking through the field, looks like Jeff Green and Jesse Racimus about to heat up a battle. They are lap cars, but battles are battles on the racetrack. They're battling for position number 17, which, of course, is an additional point, which could lead to a higher finish in the standings at the end of the season. Jeff Green does clear up. Here comes Scott Crump as well to the inside of Jesse Racimus, looking for an opportunity.
We got to change at 2nd place.
Ooh, Ethan Burrell.
I picked him. Something's happened. That's the way it goes.
That's pretty much how it goes. I mean, it's the commentator's curse, right? That's just how things go here at the racetrack. As Ethan Burrell now moves up to 2nd place ahead of Tate Lytle.
We got a caution.
Oh, we have a caution on the racetrack.
The 90 of Scott Crump.
Oh, man.
And he drives into the wall after the wreck trying to go.
This changes everything, Chris. Jesse Racimus on the outside, Scott Crump on the inside. and they do make contact. You have to remember, Crump cleared himself up ahead of Jesse Racines very tightly earlier. That's payback, I think, right there, Chris. Tally issue to the 70 of Jesse Racines. We mentioned it earlier on. Crump cleared himself when he wasn't clear ahead of that 70 machine. Now a little bit of contact into the corner. Jesse, not a fan of that. And you can see he comes down the racetrack and he hooks that number 90 machine. Jesse Racines into Scott Crump. Crump around. That will end both of their nights most likely, as here comes our race leaders down pit road. Tyler Fode will come. I believe Ethan Burrell also coming down. Tate Lytle. Chad Frankenfield going to come. David Tooker. Matthew Weeks. Pretty much everyone going to come down pit road. We're going to take one final pit stop, and when we come back, we'll bring you the final 10 laps here of the Ridge Napa Auto Parts 150 at Darlington.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we are back here in the Ridge Napa Auto Parts 150 once again. This race is brought to you by Ridge Napa Auto Parts, a family-owned business celebrating its 95th year in operation, owning 16 stores in northern Indiana and southwest Michigan. As well, you just heard from TA Services and iRacing.com. Another one of our premier partners, Blue Egg Marketing, is the marketing department for small businesses. Small business owners, Blue Egg is your biggest fan. And Worldwide Technology Raceway, a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, close to the Gateway Arch, featuring a 1.25-mile oval, 2-mile road course, quarter-mile drag strip, and a state-of-the-art karting facility known as the Kartplex. Chris, we just saw quite the incident out on the racetrack between Scott Crump and Jesse Racines, which has brought us under the second caution of the evening, which 2 cautions after nearly 100 laps at Darlington. That's impressive, I must say, but that was quite the incident we just saw.
He did not pit, even though he was the caution. He chose to take the wave, and I just don't know about that. I guess you're trying to get back on the lead lap, but that car is severely hurt.
Yeah, of course, talking about Scott Crump there.
As far as what this did to the race, this blocks everybody back up. We're going to have a race for the win. Guys like Matthew Weeks who have to win. Like, this is going to change kind of the playoff picture. This is going to really affect somebody like a Josh Adams, who we've seen fall out and be able to come back. And Josh took a wave here as well.
What this does, Chris, is, like you mentioned, it brings guys like Matthew Weeks, John Cutlip, Josh Robin, all guys on the outside looking in. Now they are back in this race. Chad Frankenfield, who had issues early on, and he fell way back and now finds himself up in the outside of row number 2 as the green flag about to be back out here at Darlington. Tyler Fode, Ethan Burrell on the front row as we enter the Geico restart zone. Tyler Fode on the loud pedal, green flag, and we're back underway in the Ridge Napa Auto Parts 150 here at Darlington. Tyler Fode does get a great advantage over that Ethan Burrell machine. I'm going to watch a little bit further back. Chad Frankenfield looking to the inside of Ethan Burrell for the second position. Chad loses it to the bottom. He's going to fall back. Bye-bye Frankenfield as he falls now to outside of that top 5. Matthew Weeks up to 4th, just behind Tate Lytle. Ethan Burrell in 2nd, trying to chase down that Tyler Fody machine. Coming to 10 laps to go here at Darlington. Tyler Fody continues to lead the way, and he's been phenomenal here tonight.
Yeah, and we saw some guys getting loose there. It's the first time in a while that these guys have taken off on 4 tires in a restart, so a little adjustment there. We had a lot of guys take the wave around just to clean it up. We are now at 18 cars on the lead lap. As I mentioned, Scott Crump took the wave. Michael Goodman, Jeff Green, David Carpenter, Brandon Ultra, and Michael Hosick all took the wave, with Dustin Dewar getting a lucky dog.
Lucky dog. That sounds even better for you than what I could say. As we look here, Matthew Weeks battling side by side with David Tooker. Just behind them, we see Chad Frankenfield, who fell back from his outside of row number 2 starting spot. John Cutlip there as well. Tooker
blocking from
Tooker blocking Frankenfield all the way down. Frankenfield's not going to be too pleased with that. As we see that number 15 machine, he's hoping for a better outcome to his race. Contact with John Cutlip, Chad Frankenfield around. Caution number 3 on the night. Frankenfield done. That motor is cooked just like some barbecue chips on Joe Francis's car. As we look at the Rebilas photography replay machine, Chad Frankenfield with contact on the left side of that John Cutlip machine. Slides up the racetrack into Cutlip, goes around down hard into the inside wall. Frankenfield done and toasted out here at Darlington. And that will most likely, I do believe Chad was already out of the playoffs, so that will not have playoff implications there. But really unfortunate for Chad. He was having a pretty solid run. No tallies, racing incident there as per race controller Nick Massey. Thanks again to Nick and all of our race controllers here this season that have done a great job of updating those on-screen messages for you rather quickly. Mark Murphy, Josh Adams, John Cutlip, Nick Massey, and everyone else that's done the job this season. We greatly appreciate you. It's a very underappreciated job, Chris, that race control position, and we're definitely glad to have all those controllers with us.
Yeah, it's a no-win situation a lot of times, and you get a lot of people upset with you. And when you do it right, usually nobody says, "Hey, that was a great job in race control." They just go along like that's the way it should be done. Nobody says anything. So they are very vocal when they feel like you've done a bad job.
Absolutely. And just an update here from Dave Huckleberry. As they run currently, the drivers advancing to the next round is Tyler Fody, Scott Crump, Matthew Weeks, and Josh Adams. So David Tooker has actually fallen back. That's a little interesting. Dave, I'm not sure if that math is correct. No, David Tooker should be the second car. I guess I'm reading this wrong. Never mind. Ignore me, folks. Tyler Fody, David Tooker, Scott Crump, and Josh Adams would be the top 4 as they run, advancing to that next round. And Adams just barely over John Cutlip by 3 points.
And Josh Adams just gained a spot on the 70 here. And I believe with the laps left, Josh is also going to pass Chad Frankenfield before the end of this thing.
That is correct, and yeah, he should only pass that Frankenfield machine to move up to the 24th position. This is very, very interesting. As we are 5 to go in the second last round of the playoffs here. Of course, next week we will be off with Memorial Day. Chris, is that the holiday in the States next week?
Yes, it is. Memorial Day weekend next weekend. We got the 600. We got the 500. You got Monaco. It's going to be a great weekend for racing here in the States and around the world. You can watch it from anywhere. And should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to the longest day in racing and the longest night in NASCAR next week. Very excited. Lots of patriotic schemes, lots of different ways to pay tribute to the military here next week as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, obviously, one off week next Monday is the slightest of sacrifices compared to those that gave their lives to fight for the freedom that we have to be able to do this each and every week. So again, thank you to all the servicemen and women out there, and past and present and future as well, for everything that they do, and we're always so appreciative of that. As we are coming now, looks like the lights are off in the pace car. We're going to be 3 to go when we go green. Tyler Fody, Ethan Burrell, Matthew Weeks. Actually, Tyler Fody, Ethan Burrell, Tate Lytle, Matthew Weeks on the outside of row number 2. John Cutlip, David Tooker there in row 3. Trey Holmes, Joe Francis, Josh Robin, and Jacob Adams, the top 10 here with just 3 laps remaining. This is going to be interesting here, Chris, to see which driver can get up there, what the aggression level will be, knowing that some of these guys have to win. That's all that they can do to make it to that final round, is win this race.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised Fody picked the top here behind Matthew Weeks. I don't know if I would have done that if I was in Fody's spot, but maybe he's just trying to win, and that's where he needs to be. But I would not have put a guy who has to win on my bumper.
And Matthew Weeks not afraid to use that bumper either, as we hand it off to Barney, the flag man here, for what we hope is the final restart of the evening. You see the field coming off of turn number 4. Tyler Fody, the control car, as they head towards the Geico restart zone. Green flag is up, and green flag is waving. Green flag here, back underway in the Ridge Napa Auto Parts 150. Slow start from Matthew Weeks there up on the high side. As Ethan Burrell and Tate Lytle jet off into turn number 1, chasing down that Tyler Fody machine. Tate Lytle around.
Oh, and now they're wrecking again off of 2.
Oh, my word.
We were already under caution.
Wow. Wow. Jake Adams heavily damaged there. He was having a really strong run. Tate Lytle was around. I'm not even sure.
I don't understand that. Caution was already out.
What kicked off that first caution, Chris?
I believe it was something with the 62.
Of Rory Collins. Let's see if we can
the
find what happened.
51 into the back of the 62.
Did you say the 51 into the 62?
Yeah, it bounced and then bounced off the 92, and then caution's out. At that point, caution is out. Why did they wreck up here at the front?
It's Tate Lytle went around right here. So the caution comes out. As you mentioned, here's Tate Lytle. He just gets loose.
Right as the caution comes out.
Right as the caution comes out, and that just... Does he correct up into the field? He does. Tate Lytle corrects up into the field, takes out numerous cars here, including some guys going for a playoff position, guys that were having really strong runs.
I'm going to tell you, too, Jake Adams was on new tires there. I believe he was the first car on new tires, and he had found his way right there when he got in that wreck.
He has that wheel cranked all the way, turns back up into the field, takes a bunch of cars out right there. Wow. That is so unfortunate, Chris. We had some great cars that had a good chance at some good finishes taken out. So now we'll run you through the top 10 as we head to the first green white checkered of the evening. Tyler Fody, your race leader. Ethan Burrell now in second. Matthew Weeks, the first of those playoff drivers that needs a victory here tonight to advance, runs third. David Tooker in fourth. He's also currently in a playoff spot. John Cutlip also on the outside looking in, running fifth. Trey Holmes in sixth. Josh Robin needs to win, running in seventh. Jeff Green there in eighth. Michael Goodman up in 10th, and Dave Carpenter, Mike Goodman ninth, Dave Carpenter 10th. So 3 do-good cars up in the top 10. I would love to see one of them get a solid finish here tonight, maybe a top 5, maybe compete for that win somehow. Seth Rawls, Scott Crump, Michael Hosick, Dustin Dewar. Looks like the only cars that were not involved in that wreck. So 14 cars still on the racetrack right now. Wow, Chris, that was That was
we have
unfortunate.
2 tallies there. We have a tally on the 2 and a tally on, I believe, the 51.
Tally issue to the 2 of Tate Lytle, like you mentioned. That would be for correcting up into the field, taking out a ton of cars, or as we might say, a Chad ton of cars right there.
Yeah, and a tally on the 51 for the incident that caused the caution.
It's just unfortunate for Rory Collins being kind of taken out by a car that's 30 laps down.
Yeah, I agree.
Rory Collins was having a decent night, running up in the top 20, and just unfortunate. We're gonna leave it at that, like you mentioned, Chris, but just unfortunate.
Now, this is the situation we find ourselves in, right?
So Fode's gonna cover Matthew Weeks here.
We've got Josh Adams out here, and he's gonna gain. If
2 more spots if we stay.
If we get another caution, Josh is going to have the opportunity to find himself maybe around top 20 later.
Depends. If more cars wreck out right away, then yes. Otherwise, it's going to be tight for Josh to be able to get a top 20.
Yeah,
As of right now, looks like 22nd is the ceiling.
He would need a caution to get 22nd. He would need a caution.
Correct. Yeah.
Because without a caution, they're going to run it out, and those guys will get the benefit of staying in front of him. So Josh needs another caution, and he'll get 2 or 3 more points.
It's going to be close, my friend. It's going to be very close. As the pace car takes the turn off here. Pace car to pit road. Barney the flagman with that green flag in hand. He's getting ready to set them free. Tyler Fode, the control car, as we head off into the Geico restart zone for what we hope is the final time here. Green flag in the air. We're back underway. A great start by Tyler Fode up ahead of Ethan Burrell. Matthew Weeks trying to squeak by on the inside of that Burrell machine. We'll see if Ethan lets his teammate go without too much of a fight here. Doesn't look like it, so Ethan Burrell will take that second spot. Oh, Michael Goodman, Dave Carpenter, do good, did bad right there as both of those guys got up into the outside
wall. Scott Crump and Hunter Smith.
Hunter Smith nails that inside wall. He slides up, and he will come to pit road. We're going to stay green here. White flag in the air for Tyler Fode. Ethan Burrell, the only driver that has an opportunity to potentially catch that 40 Blue Egg marketing machine. Here comes Ethan Burrell trying to chase him down here off of turn number 2. There goes Trey Holmes. And oh my gosh, Trey Holmes has died here at Darlington. Tyler Fode up ahead of Ethan Burrell, coming to the line for the final time. Once again, he sweeps the round. Tyler Fode advances to the championship round with ease. We're going to wait for an update from Dave Huckleberry to let you know who advances and who does not. Dave, if you can get us that update as soon as you can, that would be greatly appreciated, so we can hand it off to the fine folks at home. Tyler Fode, Ethan Burrell, Matthew Weeks, David Tooker, John Cutlip, the top 5, Josh Robin, Jeff Green, Seth Rawls, Michael Goodman, Michael Hosek up in the top 10, Chris.
Yeah, and then we got Dustin Dewar, David Carpenter,
Look at this guy.
Jake Honor, Scott Crump comes from 14th. Brandon Ultra and Joe Francis round out the top 16 with your lead lap guys. You got Trey Holmes in 17th, Ethan Stanley, Mark Rebilas, Hunter Smith. Those are the 1 lap down guys. You got Roy Collins finishing 21st, Jake Adams 22nd, Josh Adams 23rd, Jesse Rasmus in 24th, Tate Lytle, Chad Frankenfield down there. We got Gerald Campbell down there, Garrison Hogan finishing 32nd, Justin Vandermeer in 33rd.
Man, the fact that Michael Hosek got a top 10, I'm very happy for him. He's worked really hard to try to get there. Of course, yes, there was adversity in this race and carnage as well, but top 10's a top 10, so congrats to Michael Hosek. Congrats to Tyler Fode, the winner here tonight, and the winner basically all season long.
And I believe we've got our championship 4. Tyler Fode, Scott Crump, David Tooker, and Josh Adams.
That's going to
Josh
be
Adams
one
is
heck.
5 points over Cutlip.
That's going to be one heck of a championship 4, and it looks like we have our third place finisher, Matthew Weeks, standing by for an interview with you, Chris.
Now we are joined by Matthew Weeks. Matthew, it's not quite what you needed to be able to make the championship 4, but nonetheless, it was a good race. We saw you up there, a couple shots at it there on those restarts, just couldn't quite take off with Fody. Take us through your night and your round where maybe you lost just those points you needed to make that championship 4. All right, Ethan, you got me? You got your ears on?
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
All right, man. You were the guy up there with the shot at the end. Take us through your night, and what more did you need to go get Tyler Fody tonight and the rest of this round, and what's going to stop him from winning this championship next week?
Yeah, thanks, man. It was a solid night. That first run, I thought I was doing okay on the tires, but I started falling off towards the end of the run, so ended up pitting late and starting to pick them off again, and I thought I was going to get pretty close to Fody on that last long run if it went green, but I think he still would have won that. But yeah, I just needed more laps. I know I can compete with him on the short runs like that. If we had maybe 5 or 10 laps, I just needed some time to work on him. There's just no way to do it in 2 laps unless I somehow perfectly time the start. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that was all I had there at the end with what I was given. But I mean, I'm happy to come away with second.
Were there any thoughts about a full send down into 3?
Oh, I mean, I wasn't going to. I obviously.
Well, you didn't even have to wreck him. I say full send. You could have just wall rode it. You know, we saw Kyle Larson
Right.
do that, but were there any thoughts of trying something crazy down there?
I kind of stabbed it in there pretty hard to at least maybe try to scare him a little bit, but yeah, I mean, it's just there's not a whole lot you can do in that spot, but yeah, I'll take it. I'm happy with it, and we'll hopefully go on forward and see if we can't crack off a win.
Yeah, and you talk about finishing the season strong with the win. Obviously, you're not in the points position that you want to be in here and being one of the guys going for this point spot here. But what are you looking forward to next season? You going to be able to be one of these guys next season we're talking about getting into that championship 4?
Oh, 100%, man. I'll be back full time on Monday and Wednesday. I don't think I'll be allowed to run Sundays anymore because I think that past champion rule's coming back. But yeah, I told Fody a couple weeks ago I'm coming for him next season, man. I'm excited to have a full season full time, and I'm gonna put in the time and try to get up there and race with him some, man.
Yeah, and I almost went by you here without asking, but where were you sitting there when everything happened off of turn 2? We saw some of the guys at the front. Tate ran top 2 or 3 all night, and then he was the trigger car there for that wreck. How did you manage to squeak by all that?
Yeah, I don't know. Thankfully, it was right off the back bumper of me. I think his wheel might have actually broke tonight towards the end of the race, so he was having problems with that. But yeah, thankfully it was all out back, and hey, shout out to David Tooker, Josh Adams. I think both of them are making the final 4 for Pro Edge, so it's a big deal. And I'm definitely I'm going all out next race though. I'm not sitting around and playing a teammate. I've been especially places like Talladega and stuff. I've been teammate all chase, not being in it, and it sucks, man. I want to go out and win, so I'll try to beat them, and hopefully they'll finish second.
Yeah, and just to hammer home what you just said there, Tyler Fody, Scott Crump, David Tooker, and Josh Adams are our championship 4 next week, so it should be exciting, and hopefully maybe next season your name can be up there, and you can take the fight to these boys and win some more races. Nobody can beat Fody this round. We'll have to see what happens next week, but before we let you jump out of here, are there any sponsors you want to thank and shout-outs you want to give?
Yeah, shout out to my grandma Carol, grandma Betty, and my buddy Austin. They tune into every race that I race in Elite, so they're my biggest supporters of this, and it's always awesome to be able to get an interview and have a good run for them. Thanks to you guys for putting on the show, of course. All the guys at Pro Edge Racing, always making these races fun, and yeah, man. And shout out Chad, I guess he does stuff behind the scenes making this thing happen. So
Yeah, he does just enough where you can't get too upset about what he does on the racetrack.
yep, that's right.
Well, all right, Ethan, thanks for coming up and talking to us, and you're welcome up here anytime. Even if the green flag is out and you're racing, you want to come up here and tell us about what's going on, the door is always open. But we look forward to seeing you maybe go and stake up the show next week and not let one of those championship guys win, and seeing you as one of these title favorites going into next season.
Yes, sir. Thanks, man.
That was our second place finisher, Ethan Burrell. Next up here with you, Chris, is our third place finisher, Matthew Weeks, who now has his microphone set.
All right, Matthew Weeks now joining us. You got your ears on, Matthew?
Yeah, I was here. I guess my mic was muted.
Well, all right. Take us through what happened there and what more you needed out of this round and this race to be able to put yourself up there in that championship four.
Well, coming into the night, I needed to win. That was 100% for sure. I know early in the race I backed off to save some tires, and then I tried to set up a move on Francis, and I smacked the wall and got like 25 seconds of damage, so that really hurt it. And then I was just trying to play catch up, and then I don't think I had nothing for Fody anyway, dude. He was super fast tonight. But I mean, probably the entire season, I need to win races. That's really what I need to do. I need to get those bonus points because last year I didn't even make the playoffs. This year, luckily, made it after my awful season with all the crap. I mean, I had fast cars, just no luck. So I've just been playing in the hole all year long. So just to make it this far is great, dude. So at least we finished off strong. One more, another. I don't know what the next race is, but hopefully we try to go out and win that one, maybe. Hopefully.
Yeah, that's what your teammate Ethan was saying. He's going to go out there. He said he was tired of being the good teammate and the good soldier. He's ready to go out there, and he said you guys can run behind him next week. So.
Yeah, I told him that last time. I'm not lifting, dude. We're racing.
So what more did you need? What was the race for this round where you feel like you left the most points on the table?
Charlotte, because I felt like I probably had a car that could have beat Fody that night, and Garrison, like we were up 3 right there racing, and that little mishap with the lap car, and I lost so much time, just put me in the hole. And then the next race, what was it, Wilkesboro? I could have finished good. I would have had a top 10 finish, but Garrison, I don't know what Garrison did on that last lap trying to take it away from Fody, but he wrecked, and I got caught in that wreck, and I went from 9th to like 25th or 26th. So I need to execute. I need to finish races. I really need to win. I mean, when you get to this point with that not many people in the chase, and we're all close, and then you have one bad race and you fall, you have to win, dude. You just got to win a race. And you look at Fody, dude. He dominated. He won every race this round.
Yeah, he dominated this round, won them all, and now how are you guys plan on stopping him next week?
I don't even. Where we race? I don't even know which.
Let me look that up for you. Let's see. The championship race is Las Vegas.
Oh, so that's gonna be good. I mean, I usually have some fast hot rods there too, run consistent. So we'll see. I know Ethan's real fast there too. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to be in the way. I don't want to mess up the championship, guys. I mean, I know I threw a heater of a block to Fody tonight, but I didn't want him passing me. We were passing Mark, but I mean, I'm not gonna get in their way. I'm just gonna try to go out and get a solid finish the season off good.
Yeah, and is Wilkesboro more frustrating now? And looking back and the way that the points shook out, and on top of that, he took a run at Fody, and he didn't even, Fody still won the race. He didn't even knock Fody up the track or wreck him enough.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that aggravated me that I had a good. I mean, I could have finished good, but I finished bad. But if I look at it back, I should have qualified better. If I would have qualified better, I would have been up there. So there's a lot of little things that I could do to get better, to put myself in better situations.
So you kind of talked about it a little bit here. I was, one of my questions was going to be, what do you need to do better next season, and where do you think you can improve to put yourself a little further up in this title fight? Because, we're talking about some of the places you've lost points, but none. You're going to go into next week fighting for 5th in points. You're going to get the fight for the first guy that didn't make it. So it's not like there's a bunch of improvement that's needed, but you kind of just said it, right? Qualify better.
Qualify better, win races, dude. I don't think I've won a race in Xfinity in 2 seasons. And then what?
So that's qualify better and close better, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, we look forward to seeing it. It's going to be a lot of fun with Ethan. Just kind of said he's coming back, so should be a lot of fun next season. Are there any sponsors you want to thank or shout out you want to give before we let you focus on the Vegas and start looking at next season?
Shout out to Miss Goodies. They've been sponsoring me for the last 2 seasons, man. It's heartbreaker I haven't won a race for them because I told them, I feel like I had the speed to win races, and I feel bad I haven't won for them, man. And huge shout out for them sponsoring me. I don't know what's going to next season is going to be like, but huge shout out to them, dude. And then JV Designs, man. I love this Xfinity car. I love my Cup car. He does a hell of a job, dude. And shout out to John, dude. He paints some awesome schemes. And shout out to you guys in the booth. Y'all do a good job. Everyone in the Elite. It's cool to have Ethan back full time. I miss racing with him. It was cool seeing Tate tonight, so shout out to him. And fuck, man. Shout out to Fody. Oh, sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Apologize. Shout out to Fody, dude. He freaking dominated this round. Really. So he's probably the favorite to win it all. So good luck to the championship 4 and everyone else, man.
Well, all right, Matthew. We'll see you next week. Maybe. We might have a 7-second delay after that next week.
Oh,
Great
I know.
Dave.
And all the time I've raced, that's the first time ever in an interview. So hey, it's all right.
All right, we'll see you next week, Matthew.
All right, man. You have a good one.
That was Matthew Weeks, our third place finisher. Oh no. Tyler Fody, our race winner, standing by with Chris Wright.
All right, joined once again by Tyler Fody. You sweep the round. We got a broom for you here if you want it. Take us through your night and how easy it was. I think your biggest battle all night long was, Jake Adams when he was trying to get his lap back there on a little bit tired?
No. Man, first I gotta say this was probably the most fun race all season. My personal favorite. I don't think anything beats Darlington with the B car.
Everybody, that was the biggest stinker of the season for Tyler Fody. That's what he said.
The B car around here is just really awesome, especially when the tires start to go and we get a long run. Yeah, definitely there wasn't any breathing all race. Even though it might have looked easier, but the track, every lap you're fighting it. I had a lot of pressure and just kind of games playing with the tire saving between Ethan and Tate and Garrison early on there, just to like start pushing or to save a little bit, and everyone was kind of doing the same thing. But yeah, just track position was pretty important. And then once the laps started going, we kind of got a little bit better. Started to create a little bit of a gap. And yeah, just had to hit the green flag pit stop. Had to get in there good. I know Tate had gone in a lap prior to me, and I was only going to give him a lap, really. I didn't want to go any longer with just how much the tires were falling off and how much he could gain. So I followed him in the next lap, and I think Ethan went a lap longer, which I thought Burrell might be a threat late in that race, having the lap fresher tires, especially with some of the traffic I was getting held up in. Jacob Adams, yeah, I didn't really want to be fighting him, but I didn't really want to just slow down and let him by, because I was worried that once he got by, he might fall off and then come back to me again. But props to him, because he had some legitimate speed and was able to just keep driving away. So apologies to him for holding him up a little bit. But other than that, just had to keep hitting my marks. Then we had those yellows at the end, which I was not looking forward to. But got some good jumps and had enough distance there to kind of keep Ethan back. He was coming in hot, though, the last corner. I drove it in a little extra deep, and he was still pretty close. But, yeah, really happy with the result.
Yeah, and you sweep the round. Tell me about next week in Vegas and what it's going to take to win this championship.
Yeah, probably same kind of performance here, honestly, and a lot of luck, whole lot of luck. Just unfortunate, me personally. I hate this format, just the way it is. But we're gonna try and just keep hit on all cylinders here, like we have been. But it's one race, so a lot of stuff can happen, and like I said, just got to be real lucky with some things.
Well, Tyler, before we let you jump out of here and go celebrate this the sweep that you've got here, why don't you give your sponsors a shout out and who else you have to thank?
Yeah, I got to shout out Josh Robin, my teammate, first of all. He had a heck of a season, a couple wins, a good playoff run, a great drive tonight, too, honestly, to start from the back and end up P6. He had to win tonight, but I think there's a lot he can hang his head on for this season. So shout out him for running with me all year. Blue Egg Marketing for being on the car, KMP Graphics for painting it, and you guys for being up here in the booth.
Well, all right, Tyler, congrats on your win. Have a great Memorial Day as we do not race next week. We're going to be off and celebrating Memorial Day here in the States. So we will see you in 2 weeks' time battling for a championship out in Las Vegas.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Well, Chris, that was our race winner, Tyler Fody, for the third time in this round. And just before we do head off here tonight, any final thoughts from you?
I think we saw a great race for the most part, and it was a lot of green flag racing at the start. You know, we had that quick yellow, then we had a lot of green flag racing, got to see some green flag stops, got to see some strategy, and then, as we like to say, an elite race finally broke out, and we got a bunch of cautions, a bunch of torn up race cars that were running. You know, Tate Lytle was running up at the front. Jake Adams was the guy that was right there, top 10. And Joe Francis. There was a lot of guys who got tore up there on the back stretch. We saw some connection issues, some guys fall out of the points. It was a great race all around. Can't wait to see what these boys can do here in Las Vegas in a couple weeks, and it should be a great title fight with the four we've got.
Yeah, absolutely. Great race all around at Darlington, but that'll just about do it for us here. On behalf of myself and Chris Wright, we want to thank Ridge Napa Auto Parts for being our race sponsor tonight, Blue Egg Marketing, Worldwide Technology Raceway, and TA Services, as well as RebilasPhoto.com, Chad Frankfield, Dave Huckleberry, Nick Massey, and all the admins behind the scene. Thank you to everyone for tuning in, and we will see you Wednesday night for some JoinAPS.com Cup Series action right here on the Elite Racing Network. And on behalf of Brent Jones,